The skies above Vega Prime burned crimson as alien warships descended through the atmosphere like blades of judgment. The Dravak Dominion, a reptilian empire older than human interstellar history itself, had come to make an example of the Terran colonies. The humans of Vega Prime, miners, farmers, engineers, never stood a chance. The Dravak ships blotted out the stars, their weapons tearing through orbital defenses like paper. Plasma bombardments turned entire continents to molten glass. Cities were erased. Oceans boiled. On the Dominion's command vessel, Spear of the Sovereign, the Dravak High Marshal Karul Threx watched the destruction unfold through the viewport, claws resting lazily on the armrest of his throne. Pathetic, he hissed in his native tongue. They expand like vermin, yet crumble like ash at the first touch of fire. His second-in-command, Velen, bowed deeply. The Terrans believed treaties would protect them. They are children playing at Empire. Karul's frilled crest flared with satisfaction. Then let this lesson echo across their worlds. Let them see the price of defiance. Burn their cities. Slaughter their leaders. Send their broken corpses back to Earth as tribute. And so it was done. The humans who survived the bombardment were rounded up and executed live on galactic channels. The Dominion declared the Vega system annexed, a corrective measure against Terran arrogance. The Dravak called it a necessary demonstration, but the galaxy would remember it by another name, the spark that woke. Earth's wrath, the age of mockery, in the weeks that followed. The Dominion's propaganda filled the galactic networks. Hollow feeds displayed human refugees begging for aid, their voices drowned out by laughter from Dravak commentators. They broadcast the footage of Earth's envoy, the last diplomat sent to negotiate peace, executed in front of millions. The Dominion's voice echoed through the stars. Let this mark the limits of your reach. Terrans, you are not a power. You are a pestilence. Crawl back to your dying blue world, and remember who reigns among the stars. Even among other alien empires, few protested. Humanity was still new to the galactic stage. A species of dreamers, explorers, not conquerors. The great powers whispered that Earth would yield. The Dravak held banquets in the captured halls of Vega Prime. They toasted to the short-lived age of humans. On one broadcast, a Dravak general sneered at a reporter's question. Humans are sentimental creatures. They will mourn, not avenge. Their fleets are scattered. Their will is weak. They lack the stomach for real war. For a time, it seemed he was right. Earth fell silent. The colonies sent no transmissions. The Terran Navy withdrew behind their borders. The once bustling trade routes to Sol went dark. The galaxy mistook that silence for fear. They would soon learn that silence, for humans, is not surrender. It is the sound before the storm. When the silence broke, it began with whispers. First, the Dominion's outposts near human border sectors went dark. Entire patrol fleets disappeared without distress calls. Long-range satellites picked up strange energy signatures near Erebus Station, a Black Ops Terran facility once believed destroyed. Then came the intercepted transmission. Short, cryptic, and human. This is Earth Command. Operation Retribution is authorized. Across the galaxy. Those few words spread like wildfire. On Earth, deep beneath the marble of Geneva's old ruins, the Terran Defense Council convened for the first time in over a century. They didn't wear medals or banners. They didn't shout. They gave no speeches. Admiral Asha Rains, commander of the First Fleet, simply said, "They think we've forgotten how to fight. Let's remind them." Orbital shipyards lit up with activity unseen since the wars of old. The great shipyards of Luna, Mars, and Titan came alive. Massive reactors flared to life as humanity's steel leviathans were reborn. The HMS Vengeance, Spirit of Terra, Solaris Prime, and End of Kings, dreadnoughts the size of cities, began their slow, thunderous awakening. From the hidden colonies came thousands of strike craft. From deep space stations came legions of cybernetic infantry, their armor marked with a single word: Vega. Humanity didn't announce its war. It didn't posture or threaten. It simply began to move. The first galactic observers to report the mobilization said it felt like watching a sleeping god open its eyes. The march of the Terran fleets, the Dominion's border worlds, were the first to fall, not to bombardment, but to silence. Scouts entered systems where orbital stations still gleamed, only to find no life. No signals, no bodies, just drifting hulks, their hulls carved with a single message burned into metal. We remember Vega. Then came the fleets. They didn't warp in. They emerged, vast, dark, and endless. Human dreadnoughts moved like drifting mountains. Their hulls bore the scars of past wars, and the emblems of united Earth nations long merged into one. Every gun turret, every rail battery, every drone bay sang the same song. Retribution. The Dravak's first counterattack came at Torvek Ridge, where 100 Dominion cruisers confronted what they thought was a human vanguard. They were wrong. The humans didn't send fleets. They sent armies of stars. 3,000 warships descended from warp in perfect silence. Their weapons ignited simultaneously, a wall of kinetic death that shredded the Dominion fleet in seconds. The battle lasted 8 minutes. The system's sun dimmed from the energy discharge. When the wreckage cooled, no Dravak vessel remained. The humans transmitted only one message across the open channel: for every soul on Vega Prime. The fire. Across the galaxy, what followed was not war. It was eradication. The Dominion had fought countless species before, but never like this. Humans did not conquer. They unmade. They targeted supply lines, communication nodes, breeding worlds, shipyards, not to occupy, but to erase. Every system the Dominion had spent millennia building was turned to debris fields. Their elite soldiers, the feared Dravak hunters, met human marines in the ruins of Talon's Reach. The battle was short. Terran troops, enhanced by neural sync armor and combat AI, fought with machine precision and human fury. The hunters, once legends of terror, were annihilated within hours. In orbit, orbital railguns fired tungsten rods at 1/3 of light speed. Entire continents cracked open. Every Dominion command station received the same broadcast. A human voice, calm, cold, final. You started this war. We'll end your kind. Empires watched from afar, terrified. The humans weren't expanding, weren't claiming territory. They weren't fighting for conquest or resources. They were fighting for memory. For every child burned on Vega Prime, for every envoy executed, for every sneer, every mockery, every broadcast where their suffering was turned into entertainment. And they would not stop. Not until the Dominion's name was a whisper of warning in history's ruins. The fall of the Dominion, the Dravak homeworld, Scarith, was once the jewel of their empire, a world of obsidian spires and oceans of flame. When the Terran fleets arrived, the Dravak gathered everything they had left. Thousands of warships, planetary shields, and orbital cannons stood ready. High Marshal Karul Threx himself commanded the defense, standing before his people in grand ceremony. "Today," he roared, "the Terrans will break against our walls. Today the Dominion endures." They had prepared for siege. What came instead was judgment. The humans didn't enter orbit. They didn't descend. They opened the sky. Human vessels aligned in geometric formations high above the system's gravity well. Thousands of ships synchronized their targeting systems. Then, in a single coordinated strike, they unleashed the weapon that ended empires. The solar lance. The beam pierced Scarith's atmosphere, cutting through its shields like mist. The planet's crust vaporized. Oceans evaporated. Within minutes, the Dominion's cradle world and its people were gone. No broadcasts, no demands, no surrender, just silence. The flagship spear of the Sovereign, once the symbol of Dominion might, drifted powerless as the HMS Vengeance approached. Through cracked viewports, Karul Threx stared at the incoming Terran dreadnought. A transmission cut through the static, a human admiral's voice, clear and cold. "You thought humanity would crumble. But you did." Moments later, the spear was obliterated. The explosion lit the void like a second sun. Ashes and echoes. When the war ended, there was no treaty, no victory parades. The Dominion was gone. Not conquered, not occupied, simply erased. Entire sectors lay silent where their empire had stood. Only debris and faint radiation marked where once the Dravak had ruled. The Galactic Council convened, trembling. They reached out to Earth, pleading for dialogue. Earth didn't respond. Its fleets returned home, battered but undefeated. The shipyards powered down. The orbital guns went silent. Humanity withdrew behind its borders once more. Not to rest, but to remember. In the ruins of Vega Prime, reconstruction began. Monuments rose, not of triumph, but of warning. At the heart of the new capital stood a single inscription carved in stone. "We do not seek war, but we remember who brings it." The galaxy learned to speak softly when addressing the Terrans. The memory of the Dominion's fall spread in whispers. Alien diplomats avoided even mentioning Vega. Children across the stars grew up hearing the same bedtime warning: do not anger the humans. They forgive slowly and avenge completely. The silence that follows decades later. When the stars of the Dominion's former territories were surveyed, something strange was discovered. On every shattered planet, etched deep into glassed rock, was a message written in human standard: never again. No one knew how it got there. No one dared to ask.